Guys. So today we're going to talk about area of trapezoids. And of course, you're going to write this in your journal. First, empty page. Anytime you need to pause, please pause. So the first thing we need to talk about is the formula. And the formula looks a little crazy, but I promise you, it is not as spicy as you think. So the formula goes area equals 1/2 times, we're going to use the parentheses for times, base 1, which, let's do this here. Here we go. Base 1 plus base 2. Oops, making it very difficult for me to do it. Let me pause. I'm going to actually redo this real quick, and then I'll show it to you. Okay, there we go. Base 1 plus base 2 times, or close parentheses, height. So I'm actually going to type this out just like last time. Area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times height. And I'll put it all in one line. That way it's a little bit easier. Area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times height. So the best way that I can ever explain this is actually to give you a rhyme. So I'm going to write it out. I'd suggest that you write it out, and then we're going to talk through it a couple of times. So it's add both the bases, multiply the height, then divide everything by 2. Add both the bases, multiply the height, then divide everything by 2. Add both the bases, multiply the height, then divide everything by 2. Add both the bases, multiply the height, then divide everything by 2. That's all you really have to know. Yes, we have this formula, but this is really what we're going to do. So let's go over. It's going to be fun. So I've never done trapezoids in here before. So let's actually get ourselves a trapezoid. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. Do your best to draw it. It does not have to be perfect. That's not the goal. So, some things you need to know about trapezoids. First, the word is crazy looking, but it's basically a rectangle, but the sides go out just a little bit. That's really the only difference. Okay. So that's kind of all you need to know about it. The height is pretty easy to find. You can find it from any of the corners down to the base of the figure or the other side. Okay, so I mean, we can put both of them in if you'd like. It doesn't really matter. Got that there. And then since I put in a height, I'm also going to put in that little right angle so I know that it's height. There's one of them. And I'll put another one over here. Uh-oh. Okay, oops. Okay, I gotta do it again. Okay. All right. There we go. There we go. So there's our figure. So I'm going to just label this first so that you know what we're looking at. It really doesn't matter which one you say is base 1 or base 2, but just for consistency's sake, I'm going to always call this base 1, which it's the entire side, so from here to here. And I'm always going to call the longer side base 2. Okay? So if we're looking at that specifically, let me see if I can use this here. This right here, all the way across, is base 1. Sorry, that's not a perfectly straight line. And this right here, all the way across, is base 2. Okay? Then we have the heights. So the height is going to be right here. That's the one we just drew in. I'll actually put it right there. Okay? That way you know exactly where to find everything. So I'm just going to leave that in there as kind of like your regular model. I'm going to go down to my second page just so that we have everything really clean when we go in and we do the formulas, okay? So I'm going to go in and draw a brand new trapezoid. Here we go. There's my trapezoid. And I'm going to actually label specific numbers this time. So let's say this top base one is, let's say it's 12 inches. And let's say the bottom one is 15 inches. And I'm going to draw in, come on, be nice. There we go. I'm going to draw in my height. There's that little line. I'm going to put a right angle so I know specifically this is height and not anything else. And let's say that that height is, let's go with 5 inches. Okay? So over to the side, I am actually going to write out what everything is. So base 1, I'm going to always go with this top one or the smaller base. We'll say is 12 inches. Base 2, I will say is the longer base. So that's 15 inches. And the height is 5 inches. So now we can go through and actually work this problem out. We have everything identified over here. We know what to do. So let's go ahead and work this out. So first thing is the formula. Area equals 1/2 times, or parentheses, base 1 plus base 2 times, or end parentheses, the height. Let's plug in everything that we know. So area, we don't know. I'm going to put A. Equals is equals. Just like triangle, 1/2 is 1/2 times. Well, what was base 1? Base 1 was 12. Plus base 2 was 15 times, or end parentheses, 5. Now, up above, I really did write out this rhyme. And the reason I did that is because it really helps to remember what order to do things in. If you do it in the wrong order, you're going to get the wrong answer because order of operations matters. So it says, add both the bases, multiply the height, then divide everything by 2. Okay, so let's add both the bases. Well, what is 12 plus 15? Let's see. Area equals, I'm just going to type this in real quick, times 12 plus 15. So let's see. 2 plus 5 is 7, and 1 plus 1 is 2, so it has to be 27. Everything else just comes down. Add both the bases, multiply the height. So I'm going to do this now. 27 times 5. Area equals, we haven't done anything with 1/2 yet. We're getting there. 27 times 5. So I'm actually going to do it on my paper. 27 times 5. Let's see, that's 35, and 5 times 2 is 10. So I got 135. And then divide everything by 2. Remember how we did triangle, and technically that's dividing by 2? Still counts here. So let's see, 135 divided by 2. 135 divided by 2. So let's see. Looks like 67.5. And we'll say square inches, or inches squared. I think I finally have figured out how to type that, so let me actually do it. There you go. There we go. Oop, there we go. So you can write it either way. Both of these are correct. The bottom way, this way, is probably the one that you would see the most often. There really isn't another way to solve this as far as which order to work it out in. If you wanted to, you can do any of the multiplication once you add both the bases. So we'll do another example, and it will give you the option to do the 1/2 first, just like in the triangle, okay? So again, I'm going to go down to another clean page, so I have plenty of space, and I'm going to give you a new trapezoid. Let me undo that real quick, or I'll forget. Okay, so let's do one more trapezoid. Where's he at? There he is. There's trapezoid. Let's make him a little taller this time. And I'm just going to do my height real quick. So I've drawn my trapezoid. Here's my height. And I'm going to put my little square so I know that this is truly the height. And let's label this. So let's say the height is, let's do 12 feet. Let's do base 1 as, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's do that as 20 feet. And let's do base 2 as 24 feet. So before we do anything, I do want you to label off to the side what the things you need are. So I know in this formula I need a base 1, a base 2, and a height. So if you want to shorten it, you can put B1. Base 1 for me is always going to be the shorter base, which is 20 feet. Base 2 is always going to be the longer base, which is 24 feet. And the height is always the height, that's 12 feet. All right, so I've got everything that I need. Now I can actually go in and write my formula down. Area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2. Oops, I did that backwards. Try that again. Base 2 times the height. So let's actually plug in the numbers that I know. I don't know the area, so I'm going to write area equals 1/2 is always just 1/2 times, I'm going to use these numbers up here. So my base 1 was 20 plus base 2 is 24, and the height is 12. So I still need to add both the bases first. So add both the bases, which by the way, if you want to pause it at any point, please do, so you can try it by yourself. Add both the bases, and everything's just going to drop down. Let's see, 20 plus 24. So 20 plus 20 is 40, plus 4 more is 44. So if you wanted to, in this case, you could do 1/2 times 44 or 1/2 times 12. Personally, I would divide this if possible because I don't want my numbers to get big. So I'm going to go with the biggest number that I can divide in half really easily. That happens to be 44. So 1/2 of 44. Well, half of 44 is 22 times my 12. So let's see, 22 times 12. Let me work that out real quick. I think we already did this today. I feel like we did. That's interesting. We did do this today, didn't we? I thought we did. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me do this correctly. There you go. 264 feet squared. There we go. So that is how to find area of trapezoids. Hopefully that works well for you. And just let me know if you need more help. Thanks, guys.